poor maid rescued a millionaire's son from the flames. But when she heard two words, her heart froze. A scream shattered the silence like breaking glass. It wasn't loud enough for the neighbors to hear, but to her, it was deafening. Maya dropped the mop from her gloved hands. It hit the marble kitchen floor with a wet smack, water splashing around her feet. She whipped her head toward the hallway, eyes widening at the first curls of dark smoke drifting along the ceiling like a creeping fog. "Ethan!" she called, her heart pounding. "Baby, where are you?" No answer. She didn't wait. Maya ripped off her apron, tossed the cleaning rag aside, and bolted barefoot down the hallway. The mansion stretched endlessly, its shining portraits and untouched furniture blurring past her. None of that mattered now. The smoke was thickening. The air was growing hotter by the second. At the base of the stairs, she saw it. Flames pouring out from the study. The expensive curtains were ablaze, orange fire licking the high ceilings. Heat blasted her face like an open furnace. The smoke alarm hadn't even gone off yet. Then she heard it. A cough. Small, choked, terrified. "Ethan!" she screamed. And there he was. A 5-year-old white boy, golden hair streaked with soot, stood frozen at the top of the stairs. A smear of ash ran down his cheek. In his arms, a brown teddy bear clutched tightly. He couldn't move. The fire was racing upward. The stairs groaned beneath the heat. Maya didn't hesitate. She charged up the stairs, each step burning her bare feet. But she didn't stop. Ethan whimpered weakly as she reached him and scooped him into her arms. His small hands wrapped around her neck, trembling. "I've got you. I've got you, baby," she whispered, coughing, shielding his face against her shoulder. Behind them, the flames roared louder. The fire was everywhere. The back stairs were blocked. The air was thick with smoke. Her lungs burned. Her eyes stung. She turned with the child in her arms and raced to the nearest window. Second floor. No choice. She kicked the window frame. Once. Twice. The third time the glass cracked. Maya grabbed a metal lamp and smashed it open, shards flying. Ethan cried out. The smoke was closing in. His teddy bear slipped from his hand. Maya caught it. "I told you. I've got you," she murmured. Climbing onto the windowsill, holding him tight, she jumped. The fall wasn't high, but the landing hit hard. Her knees buckled as she hit the grass. Pain shot up her ankle, sharp and immediate. But she didn't let go of the child. She curled her body around him, shielding him as they rolled across the lawn. Behind them, the mansion exhaled fire from shattered windows. The roof cracked, then a wave of blistering heat surged across the driveway. Glass exploded. The front porch collapsed in a thunderous crash. And finally, too late, the smoke alarms began to wail. Maya lay on her back, gasping for air. Ethan sobbed against her, his face buried in her neck. She held him tighter. Voices rang out in the distance. Neighbors were emerging from their homes, panicked and shouting. "Oh my God, there's a fire," a woman screamed. A man was already dialing 911, phone pressed to his ear. But Maya didn't hear any of it. Not really. Her focus was on the small boy in her arms. Because just then, he slowly lifted his head, still clutching his teddy bear, and whispered two words that froze her heart. Two words no child should ever say. They knew. Maya blinked. Her lungs burned. Her heart thudded in her chest. What? Ethan's eyes stayed on the burning house, tears carving lines through the soot on his face. "They knew I was inside," he said quietly. Maya's spine went rigid. In the distance, sirens began to rise, growing louder. But she couldn't move. Her mind raced. She looked from the boy to the house, then to the gleaming red convertible sitting neatly in the driveway. untouched, not a single scorch mark. The child's mother had left early that morning. No note, no explanation. His father was out of the country on a business trip. Every other staff member had gone for the day. Only Maya had been there. And yet, the fire had spread too fast. The alarm hadn't gone off. And the front door, now that she thought about it, had been locked from the outside. She hadn't noticed it in her panic, but now the pieces were falling into place, and none of it made sense until it did. Too fast, too quiet, too deliberate. The boy had nearly died alone, and no one would have known if Maya hadn't been there. She stared into the flames again, her arms wrapped protectively around Ethan. "I've got you," she whispered, voice trembling. But this wasn't over, not even close. She sat on the grass, still cradling the boy as fire crews swarmed the wreckage of the mansion. The words he'd said echoed in her mind like a siren. "They knew I was inside." And worse, he hadn't said she. He'd said they. More than one person had known. But who? Maya barely noticed the paramedics wrapping her ankle or the oxygen mask gently pressed over Ethan's face. Her mind was racing. The locked door, the silent alarms, the unnatural speed of the fire, like it had been waiting, set up perfectly for destruction. Within the hour, pieces of the truth began to surface. Investigators found clear signs of arson, a gas leak traced to a candle in the study. The front door lock showed scratch marks from the outside. Smoke alarms had been disconnected. Security footage from the mansion's main server, gone. But someone had forgotten the off-site backup. When that footage was reviewed, it revealed something chilling. Mrs. Cartwright walking calmly out of the house, glancing back once, not in panic, but indifference, at her son through the window. She pulled the door shut, turned the lock. Then, speaking into her phone, her voice muffled but unmistakable, "He'll sleep through anything." That wasn't neglect. That was intent. But where was the boy's father? Daniel Cartwright, billionaire tech investor and frequent international speaker, was still in Switzerland. When contacted by the police, he was shocked. His wife had told him Ethan was staying safely with her mother while repairs were being done on the house. He hadn't even known Maya was working there again. 3 days later, Daniel flew home immediately. Before seeing his son, they showed him the footage. His knees gave out in the viewing room. Silent tears ran down his cheeks. "She told me she loved him," he whispered. "She said she was taking care of him. I didn't know. I didn't know." When he finally met Maya in the hospital hallway, she was wearing a borrowed coat, bandages on her hands, her apron still singed at the edges. Exhausted, quiet. He didn't speak right away. Then, voice shaking, he simply said, "Thank you for being braver than all of us." Maya held his gaze, holding back tears. "I didn't do it for a reward," she said. "I did it because he was just a little boy." The story went public within hours. Maid saves millionaire's son from blaze. Child's words reveal chilling truth behind family fire. Heroic worker exposes betrayal that could have killed a child. Mrs. Cartwright was arrested and charged with arson, insurance fraud, and attempted murder. But that wasn't the only shock. A second bombshell came when it was discovered that the family trust, valued at $28 million, would have reverted to her if Ethan had died accidentally. And Maya? She had no legal standing, paid in cash, under the table. No contract, no protection, nothing official. But Ethan made sure her name was heard. When Child Services tried to place him temporarily with distant relatives, he shut down completely. For days he wouldn't speak, wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep. The only words he whispered were, "I want Maya." And when the custody hearing came, Ethan walked in, holding her hand. He looked up at the judge and said, "She saved me. She came into the fire. I want to live with her." The courtroom fell silent. Then Daniel Cartwright slowly stood behind the lawyer's bench. Every eye turned to him. "I wasn't there when my son needed me," he said softly. "But she was. I'm not asking for full custody. I'm asking that Maya stay in his life as his guardian. She's earned more than just a title. She's earned our family's trust." In a decision that stunned the public, the judge granted joint guardianship. Maya would be Ethan's primary caregiver, with Daniel providing financial support, shared decision-making, and a public commitment to being present in his son's life. Later, as they stepped out of the courthouse, reporters rushed toward them. "Maya, how does it feel to go from maid to guardian of a millionaire's son?" She didn't hesitate. She looked down at Ethan, still holding her hand tightly, his soot-streaked teddy bear under one arm. Then she looked straight into the cameras and said softly, "I wasn't just a maid. I was someone who stayed when it mattered." That quote went viral. Daniel Cartwright publicly apologized, launched a Children's Fire Safety Foundation in Maya's name, and transferred part of Ethan's trust into her care for housing, education, and a future she'd never dared to imagine. But for Maya, the real reward was something quieter. In the small, warm apartment they now shared, she tucked Ethan into bed one night. He still clung to that same singed teddy bear. He looked up at her with wide eyes and asked in a hushed voice, "Do you think the fire will come back?" She kissed his forehead and whispered, "No, baby, the fire's gone, and I'll never let it near you again." He nodded, closed his eyes, and for the first time in days, he slept peacefully. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. For more powerful, emotional, and inspiring stories, stay tuned. Let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing your stories too. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.